Hey guys, I'm Alastair from Trail and Kale, and this is my Salomon S Phantasm 2 review. First off then, for anyone who's not familiar with the Phantasm series, what are they for? What are they designed to do best? Well, they are a carbon fiber plated running shoe, as you can see in the outsole here, which means they are designed as a race day shoe, otherwise known as a super shoe. But that's not to say you just have to use them for racing. I would actually recommend using these for speed work or even intervals. For a lot of my road runs, I like to actually run in my favorite super shoe. Why? Well, because it's super fun, it's very comfortable, it makes me run faster, and I just like how it feels. And to be honest, super shoes like this are very expensive. So I recommend to people just use them, get your money's worth, use them as much as you can. Now, before I get into the key specifications, what the heck does Phantasm mean? Well, I had to look this up myself. And so this is what the internet told me. A phantasm is a term that typically refers to something imagined or unreal, often taking the form of an apparition or a ghost. It can also denote a figment of the imagination or a fantasy, something that appears in the mind but has no physical reality. This one's physical. In a broader sense, it can be used to describe any illusion or deceptive appearance. With that in mind, I think Salomon is really trying to embody the essence of something that's been imagined and something that they want to be dreamlike and something that's not possible. Well, let me tell you, it is possible. It's in my hands. It's actually here and I've been running in it. So stay tuned. I'm going to share all my thoughts, all my insights about this running shoe, how it performs on a run, and ultimately if it's worth the price tag. Let's start with the key specifications of the S Phantasm 2. First off, they cost $250 or £240 if you're in the UK. How do they fit and how do they feel? Well, they're true to size in length, and I'd say they have a medium width, except for the midfoot, which is very much narrow. And this is something that I've kind of come to expect from Salomon over the years. They have been getting a lot better at getting a true medium width running shoe, but in general, they tend to come up quite narrow. So that's just how they are. You're not going to get any benefits from sizing up because the rest of the shoe will be too long probably. So if you do have wide feet, these are not for you. But if you have medium feet, you could probably do quite well with these. So stick around and watch this video. So they are a neutral running shoe, but actually they have a wide enough platform that they feel quite stable on a run. And this is something that I've noticed with quite a few super shoes recently, that they do have a very narrow heel, but also on the forefoot. And what that means is if you've got any stability issues or pronation issues with your running gait, then that's going to be amplified with a narrow footprint. So you're really going to struggle with a shoe like that. But thankfully, the Salomon S Phantasm 2 is nice and stable. It has a drop of 9mm from heel to toe. That's 37.5mm off the ground under the heel and 28.5mm off the ground under the forefoot. And they weigh 7.4 ounces for a size US men's 9. That's my pair. The upper is using a breathable synthetic mesh upper material. That is actually really nice and breathable. I like to blow through the shoe with my hand in there so I can feel the airflow. It's very easy to tell if a shoe is breathable or not. But also I'm very lucky enough to be living in California and it's super hot here right now. So I instantly know if a shoe is breathable or not, because if my feet are overheating, then it's a no-go. There's also a traditional lacing system, which is good and bad. I'll go over why it's bad in a minute, but it's good because it's very easy to get a nice snug fit. There's also tons and tons of cushioning within the shoe around the inside of the collar, and that goes around to the rear by the heel counter. What that does is lock your feet in the shoe and also keep your Achilles heel away from the edge of the shoe so you don't get any irritation there. But the heel walls are relatively high when compared to other running shoes that I've reviewed recently. And that means if you do have low ankles, you might feel the edge of the collar here pressing on the bottom of your ankles. Sadly, there's no reflective highlighting on the upper. So if you do run in low light, be careful, wear a headlamp, wear reflective clothing, and maybe even a reflective vest. By the way, if you're looking for a really top headlamp, I've tested a lot in my time and I put together a roundup of my favorite ones. So definitely check out that link up there or a link in description to go check out my favorite headlamps. The midsole has maximal cushioning for Salomon speak. For any other brands like Hoka or Nike, that would probably be medium cushioning. But I'd say it's on the top end of medium, meaning it feels more springy and bouncy. And within that midsole is, like I said before, a carbon fiber plate, which is actually full length. And then finally, the outsole is using Contour Grip rubber outsole, which is very common for Salomon's trail running shoe range. And it works really, really well. Wunderbar, you've made it to my performance review. Let's get straight into it. Starting with the things I really like about them when it comes to performance on the run. Well, first off, they're very fast, which is probably the number one important thing to think about or to consider when buying a super shoe, because that is the whole point of them. They're designed to help you run faster or your fastest. But at the same time, I'm not an elite runner. I'm just someone who absolutely loves running. That means I want a high performance shoe that's also very comfortable. I don't want to feel like my feet are totally battered by the end of the run. So I need to have that good balance. And I think most people do as well. With that said, I do believe they strike a really nice balance between performance and comfort. So there's no denying they're fast because of that nice springy midsole, but also the carbon fiber plate within a shoe, which by the way is very flexible. Look at this. So that's really not taking a lot of effort to do that. And what that does is give you a nice balance of the comfort aspect. Like I was saying, if you have a super stiff shoe, your foot's going to be fighting that to some degree and you're not going to be able to get full flex on your foot. I think a more flexible shoe like the Phantasm 2 is actually going to be probably faster over shorter distances, and so maybe not quite as efficient over longer distances. And to give you an example of the flex, I've got the Hoka Cielo X1, which is also very flexible, but you can clearly see the flex point is more loaded towards the forefoot, actually where your foot should flex. Interestingly, the Salomon S Phantasm 2 flexes bang straight in the middle. Now I would think that that wouldn't actually feel that good on the run, but actually it feels great. And then on the extreme end of efficiency and performance over longer distances, you've got the Alphafly 3 from Nike. I'm really trying to flex this shoe and it's tricky. It's a very stiff plate. But that means, like I said, efficiency over longer distances. So it's a fast shoe, but it's also comfortable because you're not fighting a really stiff plate. And because it's so lightweight at 7.4 ounces, it's a great running shoe if you're interested in striking that perfect cadence and maintaining it over longer distances. If you're not familiar with cadence or why it's even important, definitely read my article up here. I think you'll find it very interesting. And by the end of reading it, you'll know exactly what the perfect cadence number is for you and why you should be hitting it. And then the other thing is just how breathable it is. So it's very comfortable whilst you're running. You will have seen some clips that I've been playing of me running in these shoes and the smile that I have on my face, and that's because my feet feel really good. I feel like I can run fast. I love having a lightweight shoe that's also cushioned and bouncy. A lot of the time lightweight shoes are just very responsive, so there's not much stack underneath your foot, meaning they're very firm and you feel the ground a little bit too much sometimes. But Phantasm 2 strikes a balance really nicely between having comfort, bounce and springiness, but also being very lightweight. And the upper is designed in such a way that you get a really nice heel lock. There's no need for any racers loop heel lock method in the lacing system. You don't have to do anything special with that. It just locks your foot in really nicely. Now onto some things that I feel could maybe be improved for the next version. The first one then is the width in the midfoot. Please just make it a little bit wider. I think that would cater to so many more runners. At the moment, it's clearly been modeled on an elite racer's foot, which is very slim. The next thing then is the laces. I did hint at this before. Although I really like the lacing system, the tongue stays in place, I'm able to get a really nice fit in it. I just feel like these laces could be a lot better. There's a nice bit of stretch in there, so if your feet do swell up because they've been working hard during a run, then the upper will expand to fit your larger foot. That's great, that's all very nice, but I did have an issue with the lace not staying done up. So I think maybe if they could go with a notch laced, something like what you see on the Alpha Fly here. I've noticed Brooks Running are doing this as well, using the same lace. Because they're notched, once you do them up, they stay done up. They're also very lightweight and they've got a nice bit of stretch in them too. So I feel like Salomon could maybe go with that with the next version. And then finally, I mentioned this before as well, and that's the collar. It's a little bit high for those who have ankles that are low to the ground. I would say my ankles are averagely placed. I wouldn't say they're high or particularly low. And I do feel this. And I don't feel the collar on my ankle on about 90% of shoes. So that should give you an idea of the fact that it's definitely high in this shoe. That said, I don't feel it when I'm running. I just feel it when I stop or when I'm walking. Are they worth $250 or £240 then? Well, I'm gonna have to say yes, but it's not as simple as just a yes or a no. Yes, they're super comfortable, they're very fast. There are things that I would certainly change with them, but overall, Salomon has done an epic job with this running shoe. That said, there are better super shoes for the same amount of money. For example, the Hoka Cielo X1 right now. This has a bit of a wider fit, so I think this is going to suit a lot more people just because of the fit, but also it has a wider platform for extra stability. And that rocker is absolutely insane. You have to try it to believe how nice that feels and how fast it makes you run. But like with everything, it's got its downsides. This shoe is a little bit heavier than this one. For a full breakdown of my favorite super shoes, head over to my best carbon fiber plate running shoes roundup. I'll put a link up there now for you and also in the description. Definitely check that post because I do regularly update it as soon as I review new shoes like this. So you'll get to see where this shoe fits within that list. But it's definitely worth a look at because all the shoes on that list are ranked in order of how they performed on the run in my reviews. So yes, there are a few better shoes for the money, but there are a hell of a lot more shoes that are not as good for the same amount of money. So I think if you like how they look, you're a fan of Salomon, you're not too fussed about that narrow midfoot, then I would recommend giving these a try. I think they look cool, they're definitely fast. Like I said, for the most part, they're very comfortable. And just make sure you double knot your laces, they won't come undone on you then. But when it comes to value, I've got to say yes, they are worth $250. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That will let you know as soon as new videos drop from our channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.